whatever time you're watching this at. My name is Avery. This video today, I'm just going to take you through my personal warm-up or movement prep, something that I do every single day to start my day, before I work out, before I play golf, play hockey, rollerblade, bike, do anything physical. This is something that I use. This is something that my clients they use a variation of this in some capacity depending on where their hierarchy need falls. But these the warm-up that I'm going to take you through is going to be basically making sure all of our operating systems and everything that drives our body during movement is prepared, ready to rock and roll, and something that's you can easily fit into, or at least take some version of this and easily fit into your busy everyday life. I'm going to take you through my full warm-up, full routine. I will chop this up day to day depending on how much time I have. If I only have like 5-10 minutes, I'll only probably do first a few things, and I'll tell you which those are when we get to them. And then if I have a lot of time, or I'm going to do like a really hard lift, or there's something that I know I'm going to be physically taxed, I got to do a bunch of landscaping stuff in the backyard, something like that, I'm going to do the full routine, make sure I have absolutely everything ready to rock and roll. So again, take from this what you will. Let's get ready to rock and roll. So what we're going to do is, first thing that I always do, I make sure that my feet and my ankles, my calves and stuff like that are ready to rock and roll. This is where you can do whatever you want to do if you do soft tissue stuff, if you believe in that, if you don't believe in it, if you want to try it, I'll make some other videos, and we can work on some other myofascial soft tissue type stuff. I personally really enjoy it. I really like it. I think it's myofascial and releasing stuff is a very good tool. My favorite tool, not selling these, not plugging these, just the NeuroBall by Naboso. Give you a little bit of a look at that. This thing is a very cool tool. It breaks in half. There's a good little smaller ball inside there. Really good for getting your feet stimulated. It stimulates the mechanoreceptors on the bottom of your feet, so you get better contact, better feedback from the ground. I'm not going to go into that today. However, like I said, whatever you want to do in that respect, so foam rolling, little cross ball work, this would be the time that I would do that. I always do my feet first, and then following that, I get into some post-tib calf raises. So I use a wall on this one just to make sure that I have a lot, I'm not leaning, or I'm not trying to just keep my balance. I'm going to place, I'll go sideways here, I'm going to place the ball, and this is where you can take a lacrosse ball, tennis ball, I'll use my NeuroBall here, and I'm going to squeeze it between my heels. I'll turn this way now, but I want to make sure that half the ball is kind of sticking out the back, so I'm just it's behind my ankles there, my ankle bones. Keep your feet pointing straight forward, and then from here you're just going to lift up to the first and second toe, keep the forefoot engaged, and squeeze the ball between your heels here. Making sure we got that good squeeze. I do about 30 reps, my clients do about 30 reps of those, and that's going to give you're going to get the whole posterior chain fired up, right from the calves up to the glutes. Everything's going to be on the same system. So I rep about 30 of those. That's the only time we're ever going to say, or I'm ever going to say, keep your toes pointing straight forward. We don't want to try to force our feet to go straight forward at any other point, or go against their will. I guess whatever whatever your hips are set. But for that drill, point them straight forward so we can get that squeeze. So we're trying to really strengthen that post-tib, that posterior tibial, so that for during engage and stuff we get better push-up. I'm not going to go into that. So about 30 reps of that, and then after that, I go into some neck and shoulder flossing, just because it feels really good, and something that we want to make sure that we don't have any restriction in our head and our eyes and stuff like that, especially when we get to vestibular system. So we're going to just stand up nice and tall, lengthen the spine up like the string pulling the top of the head to the ceiling, the crown of the head to the ceiling, lift the left ear from the left shoulder, and then reach the left fingertips down to the floor, and then just nod up, yes, as big as you can, all the way up, all the way down. I learned some of these techniques from a guy called Tom Morrison. He's pretty good. And then you can go no from here. And I just integrated this into my movement prep because it feels really good, and you can feel just your neck start to move freer. Any extra tension, especially after you've been sleeping. Right, in the morning, first thing in the morning we're really stiff, so it's good to do right first thing in the morning. Then we go do the other side, lift, and then nod, yes, reach the fingertips. And then same thing, you would go no. And I usually do about 10, 15 of these per side, or honestly just go till, like I say, I'm a little tighter on my left side. I'll just spend a little more time on there. You can kind of choose whatever you're feeling. After that, I just take my shoulders and I shrug them up as high as I can. Shrug, 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 squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then just let them relax gently. So don't fall where they will. That's going to give you a good natural position where your scaps and your shoulders should sit, so then we're not depressing them too much and we're not sitting too high. Just lets everything kind of relax and settle in from there. Then we're going to reach the fingertips out to the side, so extend your arms out as wide as you can, as far as you can. Pull your fingertips behind you, reaching like you're really trying to extend the hands, try to touch the fingertips to the back wall. Gentle squeeze of the shoulder blades. Don't drive them together where the sternum comes up, but just gentle little squeeze of the shoulder blades. And then we'll do small little circles. Trying to keep it's like you're trying to reach the palms of your hands away from each other. Let's go the other direction now. And you can follow along with this. You can fast forward this. And if you're like, okay, I've done this before, go the other way again. I kind of just go back and forth. But whatever you want to take from this, you can today. Bring the hands down to the side now. After we got, there should be some little bit of zinging, kind of electricity kind of stuff going into the fingertips. Completely fine, we're waking the nerve endings up in there. Then we bring the hands down by our sides, like I'm trying to lift my fingertips up towards my shoulders. And then I'm gonna do some big shoulder rolls here. And I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not moving my sternum or my tailbone or my head even. I just want to make sure that I'm just rolling shoulder blades around the rib cage. And then you're trying to keep the extension through the hands and the elbow, double extension there. Then same thing, making sure we're not driving the head forward. Sternum's not collapsing or extending. We're just moving shoulder blades. And give a little bit of a shake out. So after that, should feel pretty nice, loosened up. That's just a really good feel good one. You can put that in any time. I'll do that when I'm sitting sometimes, the neck one for sure. After that, I come on down to the floor, and this is where we start to get this is where the fun starts. So I just start with a little bit of breathing here. I take about 5 deep breaths, and I put my hands on my rib cage. Every breath I try to get is a little bit deeper than the last. And I breathe in and out of the nose, keep the tongue on the roof of my mouth. And I start by trying to breathe down towards my pelvis, my belly. And then I expand near the rib cage. And if you're following along with this, you can even try to if you need to touch yourself or if you need to where I'm saying you'll get your breath. So if you're breathing into your rib cage, put your hands on there. And I'm just trying to get as much air up into the rib cage as I can. Really trying to get the intercostal muscles engaged to get the air moving in and out. Really activating that diaphragm. So you can do that for however long you want. That'll help you to kind of calm down, relax that nervous system a little bit as well. So you don't have to do a bunch of that if you feel like you're in a good state, but if you're tense, tight, stressed, do a little bit more breathing, a little more than 5 breaths, however long you want. After that, I go into some rolling, and this is where I want to get my vestibular system going. So after we've loosened up the neck, we're going to try to use that to kind of lead and guide rotation and lead the body through its natural rotation here. So we're start holding onto the knees, egg rolls here to start. Eyes look past the right shoulder, and you're going to continue to look. You're kind of letting the body catch up to where the eyes and the head are going, or where they lead. So your eyes, so to go back, eyes lead, look all the way over the left shoulder. Body starts to follow. Continue looking, look. And from here, you're really going to feel how the body just kind of sequences its rotation off the eyes and the head. Where the eyes go, the spine will go, and when the spine is ready to move, the body will allow us to go. And we're going to get into some stuff here that I learned from Tim Anderson at the Original Strength. This is some really good stuff to adapt into your programming, just into your everyday life. Now that's one of the more simplistic rules there. I like to go into a couple different variations here. I'm going to take you through them. I'm just going to adjust the camera here a little bit because this is where it gets crazy. So bare bones, that'll get you kind of going, letting the eyes lead, really getting everything fired up so that when we're doing our day-to-day life activity stuff, right, your body's ready to rotate, ready to move and rotate properly because there's a bunch of rotation in everyday life. After that, I like to get a little more into this here. I go into a couple lower body rolls. First one, I'd start by laying fully extended, arms overhead, bend my knee, my left knee, and I'll reach it as far as I can past my right hip. And then I'm going to extend my leg even further and reach my big toe as far away from my hip as I can. Once my hips start to go, I gently straighten my leg, bring my hips back, or my feet together, and then I roll over to get back. I'm going to bend that left knee, extend my hip, use my glute, and then reach my heel over my hip, and then extend my leg and return. So that's going to be, that one really feels a good stretch in the hip. You're going to feel everything kind of uncork from there. The next roll that I do, I'll go to the same side. It's a little bit faster roll here. So I'm going to take that same approach, bend the left knee, take it over the right hip. Now as soon as I feel my right hips go, I just straighten my left leg, and that'll kind of whip me around a little bit quicker. So I'm speeding that process up. Then I do the same way to get back. Bend, extend, reach, and extend the leg. So from there, I'll do both sides. That one's a really good one. Just kind of unlocks any kind of tension, tightness that you might be feeling in the back, upper back. When you're doing those ones right, you're just using a lot of proprioception. You're going to get the actual rotation, the natural rotation that our body is looking for, as opposed to twisting on the spine. We're just getting simulation. We're sending good signals up and down the body. Good feedback is what we're looking for. After that, I go into some upper body rolls here. Now with these ones, we're going to go, we're going to try to do the same effect that we had with the legs, but it's going to be a little bit tougher because our arms are a lot lighter than the legs. So the legs, because they're a heavier lever, they're going to drag us over a little bit easier. With the arms, I'm going to encourage you to really reach and then use your eyes and look past your fingertips. That's going to help facilitate direction and tell the body, hey, let's get going. So you're going to take that left hand, you're going to reach past your right hip, reach. Let the body follow, continue looking past the fingertips. Then to get back, I'm going to look over my left shoulder as far as I can go without my body stopping me. Once my body stops me, I make a chicken wing with my left elbow and reach my elbow overhead and continue looking past that elbow. And then when my hips start to go, I extend my arm and my body kind of follows. Then from there, I reach across my armpit, reach. Then I look past the shoulder, extend, and repeat. And then I do one more. I reach past my opposite ear, reach, eyes kind of follow the hand, extend. And then from there, eyes over the shoulder, make a chicken wing, and extend. So from there, you can do that on both right and left. The reason why I reach in 3 different directions and why it's a good thing to kind of work on or incorporate or think about is because we're trying to incorporate thoracic rotation in all directions and all planes. Life is not just here. Life is also here. Life is also here. How many times you have to lean and rotate and do something? If you're golfing, right, you're doing any kind of rotational stuff, there is rotation on different planes, different angles at different degrees. So making sure that the spine is fully warmed up, ready to do those things, really, really important. So you can do that all again on the other side. So I'm just going to keep it on that one side. After that, actually, you know what I'll do? I'll show you one more cool one that I do. This one, I'm not even sure what the name is. We'd have to ask Tim out at Original Strength there. But anyway, so this one's a fun one. I don't know what it is. I'll explain it how I explain it to clients. This one just kind of works on full body extension here, starting kind of our 90-90 position. I'm going to cross my left leg over past my right, grab my left ankle or left foot with my right hand. Then I'm going to extend my left arm overhead. And I'm going to look over my left arm and then roll towards it and kick my right leg straight. This is going to feel really good. It's going to fully extend through the hip, the entire body. Then to get back, eyes over the shoulder. As soon as my hips start to go, just kind of swivel and release. So if I was going to go the other way, I'd cross the left or right, grab with the left arm, right arm overhead, eyes, and unroll. And then to get back, eyes, and uncork it. So that's a little more of an advanced roll. If you want to try that one, I'll make some videos later. Maybe we can get a little bit more into that, especially if you subscribe. I don't know if I'm supposed to do that here or not, but that's when we're doing it. All right, after that, I get into some rocking. So this is about getting the body's systems online, getting everything kind of working together. We've got the breathing we've got that started. We've got the control from the very most internal system or internal root control system that we have. We've got everything kind of unlocked on from a vestibular standpoint. We've got the spine following the eyes and the head, so that's a good thing. We need that when we move around and when we do stuff. Now we're going to start to put together and get the big joints going, get the big systems all together. We're going to get into some rocking here, getting the hips, the shoulders primed, but we're also going to start to think about getting ankles and wrists and stuff like that going. We're also connecting eyes and tailbone and vestibular system as well. So with our rocking, we're going to get into a box position here. I'll give you a few different angles, side view. I'll give you this one here. So to start, I'm just going to start rocking my hips back, trying to keep my tailbone level like I got a cup of water on it. Eyes are going to look gently towards the horizon. Now on this one, eyes are really important, especially if you want to try to continue to rock with good proper hip position. If your eyes start to feed down, your tailbone's going to start to follow. So if you're looking down between your hands, the urge for the want for your tailbone to tuck under is going to be a lot quicker. Not to say that you can't counter that, but it's going to want to try to dive under. When you bring your eyes up, it's going to more naturally facilitate that kind of level tailbone, or the, I guess we'll say the proper position for adequate rotation through the hips. So making sure that you're not feeding suboptimal information. Because as soon as the eyes come up, tailbone levels out. As soon as the eyes come down, tailbone wants to follow and dive in. We can get into that some other time. After I've done about 5 or 6 rocks at this neutral position, getting my hips for a deep hip hinge warmed up, even getting my ankles for deep dorsiflexion, getting my shoulders and my shoulder complex ready for some overhead action, getting my trunk ready to support any kind of force, right? I'm getting, because I have to move with a braced core here, so I'm not sloppy and sagged out, right? I'm moving, and I'm getting my eyes leading motion here. A lot of things are being stimulated and being warmed up. After this, and this is where we're going to get a little more advanced here soon. So bare bones, that'll be good just to kind of start. You always put something underneath knees or something if you need, or even work this from an elevated surface. From there, I'll turn face you here. I bring my left leg or my right leg, whichever one, out to the side as far as I can comfortably adduct this, level with my hip or just behind. From there, I keep my toes pointing straight forward, eyes, I'm going to give you spin here. Eyes look, again, straight forward at the horizon. My goal is trying to keep my tailbone level. Don't let it fold. Try to keep it level, so we're going to get some realistic and usable mobility and stretch and work through the hip. I'm just going to keep my eyes forward and just feel for that tailbone moving. You're not going to get as far back on these types of rocks because we've got the leg fully adducted away from the hip. So we're limiting now amount of motion. We're taking to an end range. Now once I got about 5, and you should feel some pretty good stretch in the middle of the hip there. Once I got about 5 or 6 of those done, I open up and I rotate my toes towards the ceiling, but I make sure I try to rotate and activate that glute med, try to externally rotate the hip without lifting and dumping the pelvis. And then from there, again, take the tailbone back and just really feel for that extra stretch right off the hip and even down to the back of the leg. Very, very good one. Now this is going to be one that, again, don't force yourself in. If it's really uncomfortable, you're going to be looking, it's going to be quite significant. Like we're looking, I go up to like a 7 out of 10, but don't let it get too crazy on you, especially when you first start doing it. And then this is kind of like the more advanced. I bring my foot in now. Now I want to kind of load those adductors a bit more. I've stretched them. Now I want to load them. So I just draw a circle with my sternum, keeping my foot fully grounded. I really want to make sure my foot's engaged here. And I start to just draw this big circle with my sternum, then I go the other way, so that I actually can feel some engagement coming from the hip and the foot onto the ground. So, or from the ground to the foot and up into the hip. So I've stretched and now I've loaded those adductors. They are ready to rock and roll. Then you can do that on the other side. After that, I go into, so I'll do that whole sequence, both sides. Then I go into some, I'll show you one more rock there. It really opens up the hips, just a simple frog rock. You're gonna bring the hips out as wide as they can go. Foot the toes out if you can, or drop the heels, it's up to you. You can drop to the elbows, and then just gently rock the tailbone back. Again, keeping it level. You can even play with some pelvic tilts here if you feel like you're stuck. Just work pelvic tilts, go in the direction that you need to go. Again, that's a little bit more of an advanced hip one there. From there, I like to warm up the ankles, do some Lego rocking. Now with this, you want to kind of, I'm just going to explain how I'm sitting here. I'm sitting up on my right foot, nice and tall. My left foot's flat, knee is bent. Now everybody's hip mobility, ankle mobility is going to change, so you may need to bring something underneath your butt or find a way to modify this. This is a little bit of a tougher one to modify, but it's a really good one for ankles. You get a little bit of hip, but it's going to be, I use it for my ankles mostly. It's called Lego rocking again. This is Tim Anderson stuff from Original Strength. I just utilize it, works really well. We're going to start by taking the path that our belly button is drawing. We're going to walk our hands out towards that. Pivot over the first metatarsal of that left foot. Rotate that, or pivot that knee to the floor. Walk back in. So it's like you're playing with Legos, he describes it. You walk out. Oh, there's my Lego piece. I want to grab it. Come back in. Really nice on the ankles. Get a little bit of hip. You get that good dorsiflexion. Good movement through that first MPJ, that foot. Then you can do that on the other side. Do about 5 or 6 of those per side. After that, we're gonna, so all good so far. I'm gonna slow her down. I'm getting dialed in here. Now, once you got those done, and you can pause me at any time. When I start talking too fast, just pause me, slow me down, or if I'm talking too slow, speed me up. All right, now we are gonna go into some 90-90 stuff here now. First thing that I do is I like to find as comfortable of a 90-90 position or pinwheel position that I can. With this, I want to spend a little bit of time, especially on this. My left side doesn't externally rotate quite as well as my left, so I always spend a little more time here on this one. But I kind of just start by feeling out where it comfortably I can move to, sit to, where the pull is, and then from once I've got that, I felt like, okay, this is where I'm at today. I start with a little bit of a stretch just to get deep into that glute, try to open up the hip a little bit. Kind of, again, just make sure, I don't want to do this for too long. This is just to really make sure I can fully maximize the joint here. From here, I just lengthen the spine, gentle hinge towards the front shin or knee. Once I've got that good stretch kind of in the middle of the glute, right down the middle of the butt, gently rotating, I start to rotate my hips towards that front knee, keeping the length of the spine. That kind of moves it a little bit deeper in the middle of the hip and the glute. And just again, I'll make sure that I have maximal use of that hip where I can feel where, okay, this is where I'm going to feel like I'm going to be tight today or whatever it is. So again, this is just an information gathering time for me. After that, I've kind of felt that. I got a little bit of stretch in there. Like, okay, I feel that. Again, I don't static stretch. I don't hold it for a super long time. I just do it just a little bit so I can feel. Then I go into some heel sweeps or some 90-90 sweeps. From here, you can use a couple different ways. You put your hands down, you can have one hand on the foot. I'm going to make sure that this knee is not rocking up, so it's to make sure that I'm not dropping my weight back. Stay long. I'm going to lift the knee and that foot off the ground, sweep it around, extend, take you through full rotation of the hip, and return. And I do that 5 times, really trying to make sure that I'm maximizing using my glute means, using my hip rotators as best I can. I'll do it about anywhere from 5 to 10, depending on depending on the day, what I'm using this for. After that, a little hinge, just a little bit more onto that front leg, lift, and then extend straight backwards best that you can. It might even just be a lift right now. You may even have to just start with knee and heel raises, depending on what your level is. But again, from this, I'm just trying to really make sure that I'm using my hip external rotators. I've got the adductors going. Now I want to make sure I've got the abductors. No, got to make sure we got those ready to rock and roll. From here, after I've done my 5 to 10, I go into some 90-90 switches, keeping my feet stationary, and then pivoting and swiveling my 90-90, my pinwheel, over to the other side. I do that 5 times, do that whole sequence again, and then I do my 90-90 switches back. So at least I'm getting a lot of movement, a lot of those technical movements into my movement prep, and I'm making sure that my hip joints are ready to take on whatever I'm throwing at them, especially if it is rotational or anything like that. Okay, after that, this is where we get into a little bit of T-spine rotation. Now, on this, I'm going to use my cement wall for this one. I don't recommend using a cement wall necessarily. If you use something that has a little more slide, it's a little more comfy, but I think it can make it work. Then I just do a little bit of a half kneeling T-spine rotation on the wall. Now this is something I don't know. You've probably seen this one everywhere. Honestly, any version of T-spine rotation that you choose, it doesn't matter. Whatever suits your benefit, whether it's doing open books on the floor, open books on the wall. Maybe it's just, you could do this one, you can do the one that I'm going to do. I don't even know the name of this one. The biggest thing is, as long as the principle remains the same, you're just preparing your body to do the things that you need it to do throughout day-to-day life and throughout your sport, throughout your whatever you're trying to do. Whatever method you choose, that's totally up to you. Just remember that. I'm going to do this half unit T-spine rotation. I just feel like it works for what I need it for, especially unlocking my shoulder. I start with again, you use whichever one you want, half kneel position. I put my inside, so I'm kneeling, I got my inside legs, my right leg. I get my hip braced up against the wall. Strong grip on that left foot. Hands come behind the head, and then I just open up. I start with kind of my upper back or my right shoulder blade on the wall. Belly button's comfortably facing the front knee. I start by dropping the elbow towards the floor. Then I look up over the shoulder. Start to reach the elbow up overhead, and then start to try to keep my hip pinned to the wall, but then get the elbow behind, and then look back up, wrap, and repeat. Big one in this one is use the eyes, because the eyes are going to allow and direct traffic throughout that spinal rotation. So you want to make sure you're exhaling when you're moving, and your eyes are involved. You're not just trying to force your body through, especially when you're trying to get more out of that rotation. Use your breath and use your eyes. Those are the first two sensory systems that our body really uses when we were born. And that's a whole nother thing in itself. And after that, there's nothing else. That's it. So again, I don't know how long did I go here. I went about 20 minutes or so. This is something that it does not have to look exactly like that. But again, the principles just got to remain the same. Make sure that you're getting whatever your body is going to use. Again, hierarchy need. If you're just going to go to work, make sure that you get your big global movements done. The breathing, the rolling, the rocking, those great 3 ways that you can just quickly get that done. And then if you need to, you want to make sure that you got a round of golf here later, maybe make sure you're using a little more of that thoracic rotation there, making sure that you've done a little bit more extensive rolling or something like that. Whatever it is that you're going to do, make sure that your movement prep suits that and facilitates that, doesn't hinder it. And like I said, that's just a generic one that I find really works for my body. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to my channel. And if there's any other cool exercises or you want to, feel free to put them in the chat. Or I don't know how this stuff works. I'm new. But anyways, take care.